Okay, I can't see much of this, but maybe you can. We're up here at the long mountain wayside. We're at Route 60, and we're going to head on the trail back to the James River. Yeah, we're a little bouncy. Got a little notice here. It says, caution, winter hiking conditions. Fortunately, there doesn't seem to be any problem here. Icy and slippery? I don't think so. I think we're going to be okay today. I'm hoping. I did not bring any spikes. That may be a problem. I doubt it. It's been warmer. Well, it's still chilly this morning. I think it might still be in the 40s. I expect it to get warmer yet. If it's too much, I'll put on the puffy jacket. All right, let's switch this around. Okay. I had a ride from Aubrey. He's 80. Hey, he's a talker. He talked the whole way. He had an issue last week where his heart just went all out of kilter, out of rhythm. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Turns out that the heart pill he's been taking for 20 years, for some reason he stopped taking it. Anyway, we had stories. He's been doing this since the 60s. Lived up here. He's what you call a good old boy. Well, here's the idea. I've got first day, about 11 miles, and I'll head up to the Punch Bowl Shelter. Little pond up there, and I'm hoping at this time of year there won't be an excess of bugs because of the pond. And it says, well, let's see, the Brown Mountain Creek Shelter is 1.8 miles. We may take a look at it, but that's a little quick. There is a Brown Mountain. There was a community, and we'll come to it later, where freed slaves came after the Civil War. And they lived here in a community for probably up into the 20s, teens or 20s. So it'd be maybe 50 years or more. Now I don't think there's a whole lot of people living there at all. Okay. Well, I'm going to turn this off and get to stepping and get to warming up a little bit. We've come down and we're walking. Okay, now we're recording. We've come down, we're walking along this creek. Maybe it's Brown Mountain Creek, but it's a pretty little way. Oh yeah, we've come down a bit. Well, there's a bench. It's always good to see a bench. Maybe take a veil. Living along Brown Mountain Creek, the hills and hollows along the Appalachian Trail hold many secrets that the keen eye and creative imagination can unravel. As you travel south along the next 1.4 mile section of the trail, you can see remnants of a small farm community along Brown Mountain Creek, a unique community in that the inhabitants were freed slaves. Here, living as sharecroppers, they raised tobacco, oats, wheat, and corn. Former resident Mr. Taft Hughes explained how they paid rent. My dad paid a fourth of the crop. If you owned your team, you only paid a fourth. If you didn't own your team and the landlord had to furnish the team, you had to give him half of what you made. There's a grist mill in the community to make cornmeal, and they paid Joe Davis an eighth of their corn in payment for grinding. The community disbanded in the early 20s when they sold their land to the Forest Service. Of course, as sharecroppers, they didn't own their land. And for some sharecroppers, it wasn't a whole lot better than being back on the plantation. They didn't know where to go and how to go. I'm preaching in Joshua. The children of Israel, they came out of Egypt, and the slaves here became Christian, and they looked to the Exodus story and Moses quite a bit because they wanted deliverance as well. But you think about what happened in Israel. They were delivered, but they didn't know what to do. And it took them 40 years in the wilderness to learn how to be a people and not just a group of former slaves. The Lord had stopped the Pharaoh's army, from chasing them, so they weren't being pursued anymore. But when the slaves were freed, they had a lot of people that didn't like that and didn't like them. There was a lot of danger going on. So you can get a place that's up here and up alone, and I'll get a little more in focus. They could live a little bit freer, but as you saw from the sign, they still owed much of what they made, and it's a meager living. The place would be protected because it is a little more remote, but that also makes it harder to farm. And the creek here, of course, along the creek, this is where you'd want to live. I don't know if I'll see any remnants since they left here in the 20s, but it's a good 50 years. It takes quite a bit for people to get out of slavery. A movie I saw, same kind of different as me. One of the main characters there was Dallas, and he grew up as a sharecropper. And really, wasn't a whole lot different from slavery. He worked, he lived, he owed to the person who owed the land, and had no idea. World War II came and went, and he didn't know, well, I could have enlisted, I could have fought, I could have got out and done something. No idea, no news. That's hard. And we should be very thankful, one, for our own freedom, and for a mindset to understand what it even means, and for society that is better. Not perfect, but having lived myself 60 years, I've seen amazing improvements in the way people are treated and in access. And now we get to walk along this area. It's quite a pretty little place. I'm only going to go about 11 miles today and 11 miles tomorrow because I think that's all I should do. But that's all I need to do. We've reached the other side here of this settlement. Homes were small, people hardworking, food simple and nourishing. Mrs. Hughes remembered her mother's ash cakes, cooked on the hearth, covered with ashes and coals. She'd take them out of there, and she had a special broom made from corn, broom corn. She'd sweep them off real good, and then you'd wash them. You didn't taste any ashes on them, but they were much sweeter than if you baked them on a stove. Much sweeter. We'd eat them right then and there lots of times for supper, and we'd have that and a glass of milk. Wish I had one now. It'd be impossible to match that flavor. If you do look across there, you do see some stonework. that may have been part of a wall, a house, or something here by the creek. And while we have this really gentle sounding water falling along, I've had some tomcats or some fighter planes that have roared over. There's two of them. So this is evidently a military place as well. And there's more trail to go. Figured while I've got some level thing along the creek, I'll do a little walkie-talkie. I've got a new thing here on my pack. I've got the water bottle right in front, so I can grab water instead of twisting around and trying to strain my back to do that. Somehow I think I strained my back yesterday laying down. That's how old I am. And Sally put that Kinesi tape on it or something. After it got done pulling all the hairs I have on there, it's probably doing some good support. Hey, there's a lake down there. It's way down there. But that's the way we have to go. We have an opportunity to walk through a doorway. And we turn over and we look at the lake. Looks like a dam over there. Maybe a house over there. Somebody's truck. I just met a hiker from Duncannon, Pennsylvania. Her trail name is Wheezy P. Maybe her name is Louise Patterson or something, or maybe she's referring to something else. She had a little dog named Boots, and they were heading the other direction. She said, I might run into somebody going this way, but she's the first person I've seen on trail. Oh, a pleasant little exchange. Since I also live in a trail town, official trail town of the AT. Wonder how they had to bribe people to do that. All right, I've got a little notch here, or a little crook as it comes in. You can see going up there is the way the water comes down. And then I'm going to turn this way. A lot of leaves today. Glad to have new shoes. Ah, that's really kind of pretty. And then through this way and up. So this bridge is not even marked on gut hooks. It says we cross this over to the road. But this is massive. Let me maybe see if I can go across here without making everybody seasick and without me losing my camera. All right, there's the river flowing. Not much, huh? And gently that away. It's a big suspension bridge. Oh, yeah, and it's a suspension bridge, so it's swaying just a little bit. Have a road down here. I sure hope this is a bridge for me to go across. It'd be nice to see a little blaze. One way or another, we had to get across it, so that was it. For those taking note, that was the Peddler River. And we are at the Reservoir Road. Does that make me a reservoir dog? I certainly hope not. This, they say, is a roadbed. And somebody said, I've been looking around, I don't see any bed. Such a funny guy. Well, here we are at the Punch Bowl shelter. It doesn't look like a great shelter. I mean, I've seen much worse, but it's just your general kind of a thing here. There's all of my stuff. I've got a little extra water. And it does have this though. Of course, your standard picnic table. You need a picnic table. That's just fun to have. Lots of area here to camp. But check this out. You got a pond. I'm told in the summer this just makes it real buggy. Doesn't seem to be too bad here on the second day of spring. Oh, a little breeze coming here. Maybe I should stay here. I could set up a tent. That's a nice little pond. Suppose one could go swimming in it. Not today. Well, good morning. I slept really well. It was 46, I think is what it got down to. I started stretching out around 6. You know, it's good to let my feet get up. And then I read a little bit, Psalm 139 I read. And also, I slept pretty well through the night. Around 6 o'clock in the morning, I thought it's time to get up. I said, it's cold out there. But once I'm out, it's kind of working as well. This is my little shelter now. I swept it out. And you can kind of see that, whoa, sun behind me there. The sun is certainly up, and I'm off. Oh, now we get the sun on my face. Nice. Did I have any thoughts? Seems to me I had some thoughts for what we're doing here today. I've got to climb a mountain, Bluff Mountain. Once I'm through with that, I've got another little hill, but after that it's like 5 miles. And then after 5 miles, it's downhill for 5 miles. And I'll be back to the car, and then this afternoon should be back home, which is good. I've got lots of things to do, don't we always? Well, this is the day that God has made. I began by prayer. God above me, God beneath me, God before me, God behind me. You, God, on my way, I, O Lord, on your path. In the current of the river and the twisting of the road. Be with me by day. Be with me by night. Be with me by day and by night. Amen. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the morning, praise for the singing, praise for them springing fresh from the word. I'm atop Bluff Mountain. A lot of things around the trail. This is the spot little Audie Klein's Powell's body was found. April 5, 1891, after straying from Tower Hill of the schoolhouse, November 9th, a distance of 7 miles. She was age 4, 11 months. Ah, me. Her body's buried actually somewhere not too far from here. But they put this here. There are different monuments on the trail. The Audie Murphy Monument I was at earlier, it's quite the thing. He was the greatest, most decorated World War II hero. And he died in a plane crash not far from the trail. He's not buried there, but that's his spot. It's really interesting to see the sort of things people go and they bring. Time to go down the mountain. What the heck is that? That kind of looks like, I'm thinking that's a bear paw. Looks pretty fresh. I think that fella came through here recently. I'm in Salt Lick Gap. It's actually kind of a ridge. Let's stop it. Oh boy. Check this out. This is a little bend in the trail. And there's a big steam plant over there. Lovely mountain with the sun on it rising. Looks like a town over there. And I don't know, I think I might have to go up to the top of that fella. Or that fella. But we're still going down for now. Sometimes it's just fun to crunch leaves. Oh yeah. And see sights. Found a nice little campsite up on the ridge. And it'll probably be a nice little place for lunch. We're going to pan here and come over. There's the James River. And those mountains behind, looks like a tower on that one. Oh my word, this is quite a vista. Yes, it continues. It continues. It continues. But I thought I'd just like to bring it back here and look at this. Time for an early lunch. Well, here we are with the last bridge I have to cross. I must say, as I look at the way that they cut this out, there's such a much of love to this trail. There's an amount for the energy and the work and transporting these things up here, plus the cost of the stuff. It's really quite something. And I think I get to stay along this creek a little bit further. But, isn't that a pretty little bridge? My mistake. There was an even bigger bridge over this creek. I guess if you're going to cross it back and forth, you might as well do it in style. Oh boy. Pretty there. All right, hang on to your hats. I'm going to turn it around. Look out that way. Okay, now there's a bridge up there I think a car could go over. And something else to get down to the water. Interesting. You are talking about a big footbridge? Children, please. Let me show you a big footbridge. Actually, it's dedicated to a man named Foote. F-O-O-T-E. He and his wife used to hike, and their trail name was Happy Feet because there was two of them. This is the bridge over the James River. You realize this is one of the big rivers of Virginia. It cuts all the way out, makes a big peninsula, and I'm not going to cross all the way to the other side of it, but this is the James. Now the walk I had, actually you can almost see over there the path. It'll go along the river and then it goes along a creek and it's just gorgeous. It's very similar on the other side because I just came along a creek for a long time. But since I am here and it's 12:30 and I see my car, my ride is here. The James, I bid you adieu. This is the end of the hike.